Now when a person learns to read, difficulties arise. Now the self is arising. In villages, people are more happy. They are closer to animals than in big cities. They are far away. In primitive societies, the aboriginals are more happy. They are closer to trees and nature than in London, Tokyo, Mumbai, New York. Trees have disappeared. Only asphalt roads, absolutely false concrete buildings. All man-made. In fact, if suddenly somebody from outer space comes to Mumbai, New York, Tokyo, London, he will not find any signature of God there. Everything is man-made. Looking at Tokyo or Mumbai, one will think man made the world. These concrete buildings, these asphalt roads, this technology, all is man-made. The farther away you go from nature, the farther away you are from happiness. The more and more you are learning to read. God expelled Adam because he ate from the tree of knowledge. He started learning to read. God threw Adam out. He became knowledgeable. The misery is always in exact proportion with your knowledgeability. Knowledgeability is not knowing. Knowing is innocence. Knowledgeability is cunningness. It is very difficult for an educated person not to be cunning. It is almost impossible, because the whole training is cunning. The training is of logic, not of love. And the training is for doubt, not for trust. And the training is that everybody is trying to deceive you, so be aware. And before somebody else tries to cheat you, cheat. Because that is the only way to be protected. Says Machiavelli. The best way to defend oneself is to be aggressive. You see, all the governments of the world call their military organization, army, the defense. They are all arrangements for attack, but they call it defense. Even Hitler called his military his defense. Nobody down the ages has ever said, I am attacking. They say, we are defending. They all follow Machiavelli. They all respect Mahavira, Muhammad, Moses, and they all follow Machiavelli. As far as respect is concerned. Go to the temple, read the Bible. But as far as actual life is concerned, read The Prince, read Machiavelli, read Chanakya. In Delhi, the Indian capital where politicians live, they call it Chanakya Puri, the city of the Machiavelli. Chanakya is the Indian counterpart of Machiavelli. Even more dangerous than Machiavelli. The more a person becomes educated, the more Machiavellian, cunning. When Machiavelli's book, The Prince, was published, he was thinking that all the kings of Europe would invite him. And he would be posted on a high post as an advisor to some king. But nobody called him. The book was read, the book was followed, but nobody called Machiavelli. He was surprised. He inquired. Then he came to know that reading his book they had become afraid of him. He was so cunning that to give him a big post was dangerous. If he followed his own book, he would destroy, he would throw the king away. Sooner or later he would become the king. He lived a poor man's life, he could never get into any powerful post. Education makes you more cunning. Of course, education makes you more miserable. To be religious is to wipe out all this nonsense. To be religious means to learn how to unlearn, how to uneducate yourself again. Whatever the world has conditioned you for, you have to uncondition it. Otherwise you are in clutches. Man is miserable because man is caught in his own net. He has to come out of it, and only a distant star will be helpful. Maybe there is no God. I'm not worried about it. But you need a God, a distant star to move toward. Maybe by the time you reach there, you will not find God, but you will have become a God by that time. Reaching to that star, you will have grown. Man is miserable because man has learned the tricks to be miserable. Ego is the base of it. Man is miserable because bliss, happiness, is so obviously available. That creates the trouble. The ego goes on fishing in lakes where fishes are not. That which is obvious, that which is available, is not attractive. That's why we miss God. God is available, God is your very surround. He is the very atmosphere we breathe in and out. He is our very life. He is the ocean in which we live, are born, and will dissolve. But he is so close, no distance. How do you feel him? Watch it in your own life. Whatever you have loses interest for you. You have a beautiful house. It is beautiful only for your neighbors, not for you. You have a beautiful car. It is beautiful only for others who don't have cars. It is not beautiful for you. You have a beautiful woman or a beautiful man, it does not make any appeal. You have it, that's enough. People are attracted only to that which they don't have. The non-existential attracts. The ego is always chasing something that you don't have. Once you have, all interest is lost. So an egoist remains miserable, because to be happy, one has to be happy with that which one has. You cannot be happy with that which you don't have. You can only be unhappy with that. You can be happy only with what you have. How can you be happy with that which you don't have? And ego is always interested only in that which you don't have. You have $10,000, the ego is no longer interested in it. It is interested in 20,000. By the time you have 20,000, it is no longer interested in it. It is only interested in 30,000. And so on, so forth. It goes on. The ego only gives you goals, but whenever those goals arrive, it does not allow you to celebrate. One becomes more and more miserable. As life passes, we go on gathering misery, we go on piling up misery. And it is very difficult to realize this, that you are causing your own misery. That is against the ego. So you throw the responsibility on others. If you are miserable, you think society is such, your parents were wrong. If you listen to Freudians, they will say it is because of your parents, your parental conditionings. If you listen to Marxists, they will say it is because of the social structure, the society. If you listen to the politicians, they say, because it is the wrong type of government. If you listen to the educationists, they say, because some other type of education is needed. Nobody says that you are responsible, the responsibility is thrown on others. Then it is impossible to be happy, because if others are making you miserable, then it is beyond you to be happy, because if others are making you miserable, then it is beyond you to be happy unless the whole world is changed according to you. Now it is difficult to choose your parents. It has already happened. What to do? Somebody asked Mark Twain, what does one person need to be really happy? He said, the first thing is that one should choose his parents rightly. Now that is impossible, it has already happened. You cannot choose your parents now. One should choose a right society. But you are always in a society. You don't choose it. You are always in the middle of it. And if you want to create it to your heart's desire, your whole life will be wasted. And it will never be changed because it is such a big phenomenon. And you are so tiny. The only hope of any transformation is that you can change yourself. That is the only hope, there is no other hope. But the ego does not want to take the responsibility. It goes on throwing the responsibility on others. In throwing responsibility on others, you are throwing your freedom, too, remember. To be responsible is to be free. To give the responsibility to somebody else is to be a prisoner. That is the religious standpoint. The religion says you are responsible. That's why Mark was so much against religion. His reasoning is clear-cut. He knew it perfectly well. That either religion can exist in the world or communism. Both cannot exist together. And he is right, both cannot exist together. I also agree with him. Our choices are different. I would like religion to exist. He would like communism to exist, but we agree that both cannot exist together. Because the whole standpoint of communism is that others are responsible for your misery. And the religious standpoint is that except you, nobody else is responsible. The communist says a social revolution is needed for a happy world. The religious person says a personal revolution is needed to be a happy person. The world is never going to be happy. It has never been so, and it is never going to be so. The world is bound to remain unhappy, only individuals can be happy. It is something personal. It needs consciousness to be happy. It needs intensity to be happy. It needs awareness to be happy. The world can never be happy because it has no awareness. Society has no soul, only man has it. But it is very difficult for the ego to accept this.